Welcome, everyone. This is Terry Palma, excuse me, and Bev Thompson, and we are Conscious Gatherers. It's Tuesday night. Boy, another week has gone by so fast. Things just seem to happen very quickly. Bev, are you there?
Yeah, welcome, everybody. Good to have you here for our episode 12. So this is our 12th week of doing this. So it has gone fast, and we've covered a lot of ground, and we're going to continue.
Excellent. So give the listening audience a little bit of your background again, Bev.
Sure. Yeah. I started basically, and I haven't said this online yet, through this broadcast yet, but I have been an interior designer for many years. It's actually, I think, 49 years, so it's been a long time. I still do practice that somewhat. However, back in the 80s, and probably before that, I started waking up to more of myself. And I was just had an intense interest in this, and then things were happening. We moved down to South Carolina in the early 90s, and it's been amazing how my life has changed. I am an author and written 3 books called Mystery of the Universes, and you can find them online in paperback or in Kindle. The first one is called Mystery of the Universes, A Prophecy Fulfilled. The second one, same name, but a book 2, and the third one, book 3, Mystery of the Universes, book 3. Very simple. So I have written numerous articles and continue to do that. And it's been so interesting and heart-opening, mind-opening, all of that as we've gone through the last few years. It's been quite phenomenal. So that's my basics.
Good. And so mine, kind of a traditional, spent a lot of time in school, ended up going and getting 3 master's degrees, one in education, one in educational psychology, and one in counseling and guidance. I was going for a PhD also in psychology, and had actually finished all the coursework, decided I didn't want to spend all that time listening to other people's issues, and so I just kind of dropped out and got into spirituality, found a place where I could get a PhD in metaphysics, which interests me, so I completed that. And then I met Bev when I moved to South Carolina. Her and her husband, they had a group called the Angel Group, and we started talking about spirituality and metaphysics, and that's kind of what's brought us here today. So welcome, everybody. I think Bev's got an interesting topic for us to discuss tonight. And then before we leave, I'm going to give everybody a website that I think is really cool, because here we talked about language before in a previous series. Well, there's a company called Bank, B-A-N-K, and it stands for Blueprint, Action, Nurturer, and Knowledge. And those are 4 basic personality types that you can go break your code and find out how you are in what order at this website. And so I'll give that to you at the end and give you a little bit more information about it. But when you're talking to somebody, if you know their bank code, now you can talk in their language. They'll understand you more. They'll follow you more. Especially if you're doing business, it really helps to know what someone's bank code is. So I'm going to share that website tonight with you before we leave. Bev, take it over.
All right. Last week we got into talking about Gaia, who's the soul of the earth, and how she is alive, how we have the synchronistic life with her as we came to this planet. Actually, she did a clarion call, and she volunteered to host our human beings and other beings too. And we can get into that another time, but it's been quite a journey for Gaia and humanity. One thing is to give a lot of gratitude to Gaia, and I'm not sure if we even talked about that last week, but for her to go through what she has with humanity, where people did not realize that she indeed is a live being, and they have done things to the earth that's probably not very nice. So, to put it bluntly. So give her a lot of love, and because she is changing right along with humanity. A couple things that we are going to go through and continue to go through, some earth changes and hence climate change. One is to, of course, not abuse the earth, and again, give gratitude and understanding to what is going on. However, I feel we are not at all killing the earth where some people have brought that up, or we won't be here. But I feel we are. She knows she can take care of herself. I remember getting that loud and clear, and she'll shake off what no longer serves her. So she may shake, rattle, and roll, but I don't feel that's going to happen as once predicted. But it depends upon us and how we treat the earth and each other. So that's that. But a lot of things are going to be changing with the earth. Eventually, we will not be taking oil out of the earth. That will continue for a while. She can replenish that. So when you take the oil out, that doesn't mean it's gone for good. But it's like her lifeblood. So that's one thing that's going to happen, and I have a feeling that's going to happen quite soon. And it's just going to take a while to change over from the gas and oil program into something that's more magnetic or electromagnetic for vehicle transportation. So something to think about, but there's some real exciting times that are happening now. And I do feel we're going to see a lot of changes within the next 10 years, but probably we're seeing changes now. We're seeing what's happening with this coronavirus. So we can see ourselves going more internally and really realizing what's important to us. So it's, again, very interesting what we're going through. One of the things that I've been told that that this time is actually called Science of the Divine, and that we're all divine. It doesn't matter who we are, and there's not the God and the Satan, even though we had talked a little bit about that last week. There are satanic rituals that go on, it's my understanding, but that's a few of the people on earth will go there. But and I don't really want to go there because I think that's all fading out and not to be tolerated anymore. So to understand that we, again, all are divine and all aspects of us are divine, and we're starting to consciously know that. So now's the time really to speak our truth, and that's what Terry and I are doing. We're speaking our truth, our understanding, our wisdom. So we've come together to do these podcasts and to share with you all, and we would like for you all to share with us too, because we all learn together. And many of you may bring something up that we're not necessarily familiar with, so it's a learning and opening for all of us. Mentioning about speaking our truth, and that doesn't mean that we go out and beat our chest saying, I know the way, and, have the light and follow me. Instead, when we speak our truth, that we are actually love incarnate, God is love, and that love shows through our words and our actions, that's when we get another's attention. And then the ripple effects will continue going through this whole earth. And we're starting to see that now with all the people showing compassion to what is happening in today's world, the whole world. So it's, again, to me, very, very interesting. And we can call this time the rapture. And in a biblical way, that doesn't mean we're not going to be lifted off the earth, but it's really about our ascension and understanding that that it's a consciousness, that our consciousness is changing, but also our physical being was also changing. We talked a little bit about the DNA changing, but we really haven't gotten into that. I have received information on that, and Terry, you may have information, but I definitely do not have a science degree or a medical degree to really understand it all. Outside of that, we are changing, and we're starting to realize more aspects of ourselves, and that we are multidimensional. So I thought it would be fun to talk about some of the things that we will be doing, and some of that's happening now, and that we're not limited beings, and we're going to find out how unlimited we truly are. I call it freedom. And can you imagine that? It's time to move around. I used to liken it to when you're on an airplane where you're in a gentle flight mode, and it's time you can move around the cabin. So it's like, all right, we're moving around within ourselves. So it's a way of looking at it. All right, I'm going to go through 10 things that will stretch our minds into unlimited thinking and creating. Remember, we're all creators. All right, number 1, trans-channeling. Our ability to speak in the language of light, that is, in symbols and numbers. This ability will assist us to understand many other species that reside off of this earth. All right, number 2, understand and use technologies that include biolocation, being in more than one location simultaneously, and being conscious of doing so. 3, waking our subconscious and knowing all of our past lives and integrating these experiences into our present reality. Now, that doesn't mean we're going to remember everything about all of our past lives, but I call it past, even though there's no past. That's really hard for me to understand because we've been so linear. However, many of the experiences we have make us to what we are in this present moment, in this virtual reality, as Terry says. All right, number 4, time travel. And there's people that do that already. Interplanetary travel. It's happening now. In fact, there's a lot of UFO activity around this earth. You can look online and you can find a plethora of information on that. Use a lot of discernment. Some of it is real and some of it's not, but a lot of it's real, and we're going to start seeing more activity. All right, number 6, working with the elements of this earth to present a new way of living biologically. Our growth of our foods will not only be through our soils, but with hydroponics, something that we have been using for quite a while now. Number 7, air extraction. Our ability to extract oxygen and hydrogen for clean air to breathe. A new technology that's already in the works. And this is through our labs. We will continue to use plant life as an exchange of elements, but we will have the addition of a new technology that includes mechanically producing depollinated currents containing water to balance our ecosystems. So some people may have more information on that. That's the information I received. So thought I would put it out there, and we'll see if we get some feedback from you all. Okay, number 8, harness electricity with the use of our oceans. 9, oil will not be used to motor our vehicles. Our vehicles will be powered by the use of magnetics and cross currents, which is the interplay of electromagnetic energy. And number 10, the past can change the future. So in your time travels, you will be unable to change the course that you have already set before you. Therefore, no fear will be realized. All fear will fade from our existence. That's it.
Now, Bev, is that source for those? Is that in one of your books?
Yes. Thank you. This is from my second book, and it's writing number 28, called The Rumblings.
The Rumblings, I like that.
Yeah, well, The Rumblings.
Yeah. So you touched upon something in there, and several things that I've been thinking about this week, and very clear in meditation and stuff. we here, as I've said, we're an avatar, and we identify with our avatar, and we actually think we are human beings and that we are experiencing spiritual things or whatever happens. And the reverse is actually true. We are, at core, our true self is spiritual, one with the Creator, and we are having a human experience that we've created. It's not the other way around. So because of that, there's a lot of things that get mixed up. For one thing, we've been told to be spiritual is to be not to go after money, or money's evil and all that stuff, when in actuality it has nothing to do with it. People say, well, I can't do that because, people that just think about money, they're not spiritual and stuff. Let me give you the 4 pillars of wealth that came to me this week through a webinar I was on with the bank people, actually. So imagine a reversed pyramid. So the point of the pyramid is at the bottom, on ground level. And the first level of wealth is money. All right? Money, the root of all evil, right? Right at the base, at the point. Well, that's just the first layer of how someone becomes wealth, or one level of wealth. The next level of wealth is your relationships. How you form your relationships, the relationships you have, could definitely impact the money that you have or that you are attracted to. The third layer, moving up now, remember, money was at the point, at the bottom, ground level. Moving up is knowledge. The knowledge that you gain, that you have, that passes down to your relationships, is what nourishes us and helps grow and share what ends up being the monetary value that you get from those relationships, from that knowledge that you're able to share with people, to give, not keeping. You notice we're giving. And then the top tier of wealth is spirituality, because knowing where you came from, who you are, knowing that none of this other material things are important, and they all could flow to you as easily as you choose to by being spiritual, having the fortitude within to know that, and that what you give, giving is receiving. Giving is the only way to give. The only way to receive something is to give it away, and that's the top spirituality. Knowing that there's no lack in the universe. So by being spiritual and gaining the knowledge, and you get your spirituality and your purpose, because we all have a purpose, through meditation, through nature walks, wherever you're isolated, those spiritual messages come to you in many ways, and you've catered and can prick those ways that are best for you. And those spiritual communications is what gives you the knowledge to share with the relationships that in turn will give you whatever you want in the material world, because you're creating it yourself anyway. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Bev, you have a comment on that?
Yeah, I think that's perfect, because people have eschewed money, and then people have, that's where they stay. They stay at the bottom of the pyramid. I just want money, money, money. However, to make it really gratifying is to share, and talked about sharing, and that means giving and receiving. I find a lot of people have a hard time receiving. It was hard for me, still is at times. Yeah. So I admit to that. It's as Rick used to say, my husband used to say, grateful acceptance. And so I still remind myself of that, because I give out a gift, and maybe my time or whatever, and people really like that, and then they'll pay for it. And even though it's hard for me to even ask for money, so that's my issue. So I'm getting better, but anyway, you're giving, but you need to receive also, because that person is more than happy to give back to you, because it's that exchange. Yeah, go ahead, Terry.
Well, it's interesting that the number one business networking organization worldwide is BNI, and Business Network International. And their number one creed is givers gain. That's their whole philosophy is based on givers gain, which is quite interesting for an international business organization, and they are the largest networking business network in the world. So it fits this, this inverted triangle that we saw. Yeah, I tell you, it's so interesting just to pause in the morning when you get up, and then pause in the evening before you go to bed, and just kind of communicate with whomever's communicating with you, your divine self, your spirit guides, whatever you call it, because this information is available to everybody, and your life doesn't need to be challenging. The challenges you put there so that you can go beyond them. Monetary challenges need not be there if you start with spirituality. I will give you a link tonight also to look at of something that's come to my attention that might help in that. It's not for everyone, but I'll give you that link too later tonight. Yeah. Bev, good stuff tonight you had. I like that.
Yeah. Well, does anybody have any questions or any comments from what we shared?
Let's open it up for questions. If you're muted, star 6, go unmute yourself.
Absolutely. I'm cutting in. This is Lee. How you doing?
Good, Lee.
Hey, Terry, let me ask you something. I'm learning from Beverly a lot of things, and I've known how to listen for a lot of years. So I'm listening more now than I ever have. But I heard you say something, and I'm not being a smart aleck. Is there a difference between the money that you are attracted to, which was your statement? Is there a difference between money you are attracted to and money that's attracted to you?
Well, that's a good question, because if you're hunting for money, you probably have a hard time finding it. But if you're following that pyramid that I talked about, money will find you.
Okay.
It's like, here, it's kind of interesting. Let me give you an example. I do a business. I've done business. What am I trying to say? Social media marketing, different marketing for local businesses, and it was okay. And then this pandemic hit, and of course all my businesses dropped me because that's the first thing they don't need to do. However, I've been making more money in this pandemic without any businesses than I had when I had it. Go figure that one out.
Yeah, that's interesting. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
I got some money that's finding. I got some money that's finding me right now, and it's interesting.
That's good. It's hunting you, or it's coming to you?
Yes. Thank you.
Good. Anybody else have a question?
No, I don't have a question. This is Pat. I just want to say hi to everybody and how proud I am of you guys for doing this. I've known you a long time, and I'm just pleased that you are following your calling here. And I've listened to every single one, and they're all very good. I was walking about an hour ago, and what I was thinking about is we've all had our teachers, and they're different. My teachers may be different than Bev's and Terry's and Lee's, but we have had our teachers through all these years, and we've also been conditioned by our families and the past lives and whatever. But it's time, in my opinion, I think it's time for us to go within, just like you were saying, Bev, go within and hear our own truth, hear only not only because, you guys have good stuff to say, but hear mainly our truth, because what I get is going to be for me, and what you get is going to be for you, even though we're all one. So this has been really good. We have our own discernments, we have our own intuition, we have tons of knowledge, and
let me comment on that, Pat. Pat, thank you very much.
Sure.
Pat was an original member of the Angel Group that Bev and I spoke about. She was a member way before I even came on board, so she's been a dear friend. Thank you for those comments, Pat. Let me comment on what you said about the people, however you get your information. Here's one thing to mark, to know if it's true or if it's somebody else talking to you. And when I mean true, I'm talking about source. If what they say to you personally applies to everyone, then you know it's true. If it doesn't apply to everyone and applies to you only, that's the false ego. That's trying to get you to go off track. Because we are only one, and the message that would come to you that comes from truth must be applicable to all of us.
I totally agree.
Okay, well, what about, it's something that Pat had just said. Hi, Pat. Thank you for coming on. What's going to serve me may not serve Pat. So it's something that is a truth for me.
Yeah.
And then that can look like different things,
but
not serve her.
I mean, because we all have a special purpose that we chose to come in for. So that purpose is going to be different than my purpose or your purpose. So, but even that purpose, if someone was to take that role, they could fit the role because it would be applicable to them too. Do you understand what I'm saying? If the message comes to you like, well, you're the only one who can do this, and well, that's not true either. When I spoke that, I was speaking from my heart and from what I understood. And what Bev brings up is interesting. And anytime that comes up to me, like right now, I think that I'm fighting with my ego, that it's trying to get in the way from my spirituality and say, oh, yeah, you're special. You got. So I'm careful about when those things happen. And that's why I said what I said. That's the rule I follow. That doesn't mean necessarily that you all have to follow that rule.
All right, thank you.
All right, Bev, do you have anything else? If not, I'll give out a couple of internet addresses. The first one is you just go to terrypalma, all one word, .com, TERRYPALMA.com, and that's the bank code. That is another company who, when you get there, just scroll down and look where it says crack the code. And what you're going to do is it's going to show you 4 cards, different colors, and with different words on each of those cards. And you're going to put them in order of what resonates with you most, next most, least, in order of most to least. And then it'll be interesting what your codes are. You'll get a report in the email of the whole thing. I just discovered these guys about 2 weeks ago. They're in a movement. They're the ones who gave me this triangle. So they're dealing in business and money, but they're coming from a spiritual point of view and working this way. And their whole code is if we could speak the code, then we're speaking one language to everybody. Because like my code is AKNB, which means action, knowledge, nurturer, and a blueprint. So if you know I'm an A, and you know what A's are all about, so if you're going to talk to me or you want to persuade me or you want to, have me listen to you, you want to talk to me in A language. If you talk to me in B language, I'm out of here. You've lost me. So the whole idea is to understand the codes, know what a code is, what someone's code is, and now we're speaking the same language. It's very fascinating. I found it very, very interesting. So that's the first page.
Okay, could you excuse me, Terry, could you repeat the address again, please?
My name, terrypalma.com.
Okay.
And then the next one is something that deals with this spiritual triangle and money. Right now we have a lot of people are having an issue with money. And it's understandable. Businesses shut down, people have been laid off. But there's a system out there. There's a perfect storm happening right now. A perfect storm that the government is giving everybody a stimulus package, around $1,200. Now, we could take that stimulus package and throw it away on frivolous stuff. Or we can take a portion of that stimulus package, invest it in ourselves, which eventually help the community, and by doing that, you'll have the money back so you really haven't used any of your stimulus package. You still have it, and now you have the government who has put you into a favorable monetary situation. So the next site to go to is my site again, but this time it's not Terry Palma, it's Team Palma, TEAMPALMA.com. And on there's several videos, lots of information. My contact information is on there. So go look at it and see if it's something that might interest you. But I'm calling it You and Two. It's the movement I'm calling. I've just done a video today on a very short video, and when that's done, I'll give it to Bev and she can publish it. It'll be on YouTube. It's done, but a friend of mine is rendering it and putting a cover on it and an outro, so it'll be ready probably tomorrow. So those are the two websites, one for your bank code, terrypalma.com, and one to maybe use some of your stimulus package to let the government fund something for you in monetary service, and that's teampalma.com. Well, that's it for me, Bev. How about yourself?
Well, thank you very much. I think we had a great conversation today on lots of different levels. Really does expand our thinking, our creative self, and to really know ourselves and how virtually unlimited we are. Mm-hmm. Like the way I use virtual. But anyway, I like to play a little bit. So thank you so much. Indeed, we are Science of the Divine, and we appreciate all of you here and listening to us today.
Yeah, and I want to thank all of our listeners that are live and all of our listeners that come in and listen to it recorded. We really appreciate it. It's for you. Please spread the links. Let people know. I want you all to stay safe, keep safe, and do what you know in your heart is right. So until next week, another issue of Conscious Gatherers has faded away, and we'll talk to you next week. Love you all. Bye.
All right, bye.
Bye.